आफ्टर अनदर लॉन्ग वे दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ने फाइनली 2 पॉइंट्स ऐड किए हैं अपनी टेबल में, जो कि लग रहा था पता नहीं सनराइजर्स के हाथ में जा सकता था, बट आई थिंक यहाँ पर दिल्ली कैपिटल्स जितना अच्छा क्रिकेट खेला उससे कहीं ज्यादा खराब क्रिकेट आज एसआरएच के एंड से हमें देखने को मिला है। उनका होम ग्राउंड था बट फिर भी वो एडवांटेजेस नहीं उठा पाए। एक तो लाइक अकॉर्डिंग टू मी, जितना मैं जानती हूँ उसके हिसाब से कि स्कोर काफी कम था इस ग्राउंड पर, जिस तरह की रिक्वायरमेंट थी उससे कम स्कोर था। और उसके बाद में जिस तरह की बैटिंग कंसर्न सामने आए हैं गौरी, कितनी बात की जाए कम है। मतलब नहीं समझ रहे आप क्या बोलेंगे उनको, क्या बताएंगे उनको। बहुत कोशिशें ली लेकिन फिर भी जिस तरीके से इनका फॉल आया है एसआरएच का, वो काफी डिस्टर्बिंग है एज अ क्रिकेट फैन, बिकॉज हमें पता है क्या कैलिबर होल्ड करती है एसआरएच, और उसके बाद इस तरीके से फ्लॉप होना वेरी बिग कंसर्न फॉर देम।
Of course, I mean, जब start किया था, when they started, Mayank Agarwal, he did decent. I mean, with Harry Brook, of course, 31 run for the first wicket. It was looking all fine. और उसके, especially when you don't have such a massive target in front of you. I mean, you were chasing 144 runs. So, I mean, you could have gone easily and very, would have played very, very, very well, not taking risk and all of that. But still, they have, not taken chance and did something that was not required on the day. I mean, when you lost Mayank Agarwal after that, it was a total collapse, I believe. No one just stood and, rose to the occasion and could amass what was really required. But I think when you have 144 something in front of you, doesn't really look that you have to go under the pressure and start playing those reckless shots and, just keep giving your wickets. But that was not the case with SRH. Again, they did some, I would say, careless things and just gave away their wickets, and just it was a pure collapse after Mayank Agarwal went down.
राइट। एंड एसआरएच के साथ साथ अगर दिल्ली कैपिटल्स की तरफ देखे प्रत्यय, दे वन द मैच, पर मुझे लगता है कि इनकी ना ओपनिंग पेयर में थोड़ी गड़बड़ी है। जैसे हमने इनिशियली देखा था पृथ्वी शॉ वाज देयर सो ही कुडंट स्कोर, वो 0 पे आउट हो रहे थे। आज भी कुछ कमाल नहीं हुआ है, मतलब आपने पृथ्वी को ड्रॉप किया है बट डेविड वार्नर के साथ फिल सॉल्ट उतरे थे, 0 पर गए। मुझे लगता है देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग विद द प्लेयर्स बट देयर इज समथिंग रॉन्ग विद दैट नंबर, जहां पर दिल्ली के साथ मुझे लगता है कि डेविड वार्नर के अलावा और कोई है ही नहीं जो खेल सकते ओपनिंग पेयर में। क्या सोल्यूशन हो सकता है इस चीज का भाई? आप किसी भी प्लेयर को ट्राई कर लो, आकर के वो 0 पे चले जाते हैं एट द एंड।
See, first I touch upon that. I think my assessment of this game was that perhaps these were two teams competing to lose, because at no point of time did you feel like that any team wanted to win. Perhaps Delhi was saying that, okay, come, you take the game. SRH saying, no, we won't take it. You are at our place, fine. Take the game away. It paid too much respect to the spinners.
Passing
And
the
I
parcel.
think, absolutely, I think what even Gauri was pointing out, that it wasn't really a total that you should have really made a mess of. 7 runs, 7.5 runs. I mean, 10 out of 10 days you expect in the modern, game that these will be chased down. But often what happens with these middling kind of scores is that you feel that, okay, we have a lot of time, fine, 7 overs, 7 and 8 over. We can take things calm. We can take things cool. It's okay. No need to take a lot of pressure. By the time you reach the 15th, 16th over, you suddenly realize that, okay, the required run rate has gone up to 10, 11. You have effectively made it a game of chasing 200, 220 instead of chasing something like a 140, which is something that they ended up discovering. As for Capitals, I think, yes, they would be happy again, because, see, this is what one victory can do. They won the previous game, not in the most convincing fashion, but then this was a game for them perhaps to lose, because at the halfway mark, I don't think anyone was placing their bets on Delhi, because you have a decent batting order. 140 runs, 145 runs is not too much. They are playing at their home ground, chasing the conditions, so everything is pretty much under control. So you would not have perhaps thought that, Delhi would end up defending this, but they did. But specifically, I think there are still too many concerns, starting off, of course, with the opening order, because, yes, Salt came in, but disappointing because the manner in which he got out. I think scores, of course, is one thing, but the delivery that which he got out on, an outswinger from Bhuvneshwar, that is something that perhaps he has for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because being an England batter, you would perhaps be having these kind of deliveries very regularly. So you do not expect a caliber of Salt's batter to, nick out on an outswinging delivery and lose his wicket. And even otherwise, I think this has been a concern for Delhi throughout. I mean, look at Shaw and Warner. Now you drop Shaw, bring in Salt, but a couple of games that he has got, कोई बहुत खास उनका प्रदर्शन उसमें रहा नहीं है. So I think overall they would be disappointed. I think what their average partnership is around 20-21 runs. That is what Delhi batters are managing the opening partnership, which is third worst, if I'm correct, after KKR and Punjab. So these stats are speaking for themselves, and even the death batting, the kind of runs they got, I still felt that there were some runs that were left out, poor running between the wickets. So yes, they have won the game, but like we always say कि जब आप जीत जाते हैं तो बहुत सारे points हो जाते हैं which actually get masked under the victory. So they have to ensure, because they are so they are lagging so far behind in this tournament, that even if they win, they will have to be very cautious about these points that they will have to correct in the next game. Starting off with the opening partnership would be a good idea.
दिल्ली कैपिटल्स के लिए फिलहाल यही अच्छी बात है कि आज का ये मुकाबला जीत गए और ये एक पॉजिटिव्स में उनके लिए काउंट होगा बिकॉज उनकी टीम में एक पॉजिटिव वाइब फैलाने के लिए सिर्फ जीत की जरूरत है और एक मैच पहले जीत चुके हैं पर इस पॉइंट से भी उनको काफी फर्क पड़ेगा एटलीस्ट उनकी कुछ पोजीशन बेटर होगी एसआरएच के ऊपर तो आ ही जाएंगे बट एक बार नजर डालते हैं इस बात पर कि कैसी रही है मैच आफ्टरऑल किस तरह के नंबर्स हैं यहाँ पर आज के मैच समरी के सबसे पहले दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ने टॉस जीत करके जब बल्लेबाजी का फैसला किया तब उन्होंने आकर के 144 रन्स स्कोर बोर्ड पर लगाए 9 विकेट्स उन्होंने गवाए वहीं मनीष पांडे ने 34 और अक्षर पटेल ने 34 रन ऐड किए वॉशिंगटन सुंदर ने 3 विकेट लिए जहां हैदराबाद की तरफ से तो वहीं भुवनेश्वर ने एक बहुत ही कमाल का स्पेल फेंका 4 ओवरों में 2 विकेट लिए और सिर्फ 11 रन दिए इसके अलावा फिर सनराइजर्स हैदराबाद जब बल्लेबाजी करने के लिए उतरे 137 रन ही बना पाए लास्ट ओवर में 11 रन चाहिए थे पर वो स्कोर नहीं कर पाए और इस दौरान हमने देखा मयंक अग्रवाल ने 49 रन बनाए 1 रन से अपनी हाफ सेंचुरी से चूक गए और हेनरी क्लासिंग ने 31 रन ऐड किए इसके अलावा अक्षर पटेल ने 2 विकेट और हेनरिक नोकिया ने 2 विकेट लिए आफ्टरवर्ड्स जिसका रिजल्ट निकला दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ने 7 रन से मुकाबला जीता व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी इन गुड वाइब फॉर देम फॉर श्योर गौरी एज यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट भुवनेश्वर कुमार like we know this spell of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar he is quite like फिक्स हो चुका है भुवनेश्वर कुमार का ही विल कम आकर के फर्स्ट ओवर में विकेट लेंगे उसके बाद में फिर कंटिन्यूअसली जब तक नई बॉल रहेगी उसका पूरा इस्तेमाल करेंगे और हमने देखा पावर प्ले हो चाहे कुछ भी हो भुवनेश्वर पे कोई असर नहीं था थ्रू आउट 4 ओवर्स उन्होंने लाइक अ सीनियर बॉलर उसी तरीके से रिस्पॉन्ड किया और सिर्फ 11 रन दिए 4 ओवर फेंके और 2 विकेट लिए दिस इज क्लासी भुवनेश्वर दिस इज समथिंग वी लव हिम द वे ही बॉल्स वी लव हिम दिस वे सो आई जस्ट वांट टू नो अबाउट योर थॉट्स ऑन भुवनेश्वर टुडे
Absolutely. I mean, this was something that we were missing, SRH fans were missing from, Bhubaneswar to lead like a pro, to lead like a senior pacer that he has always been doing. I mean, he bowled a great spell, he took 2 wickets and did a very economical spell also. So, I mean, that is something that, young bowlers or young contingents in your team would look up to. So, I think that was a great from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. Also, talking about spinners, they were also great on the day if you talk about DC as well. So, I mean, when you talk about Aksar, when you talk about Kuldeep Yadav, they have been consistent on the consistent run. I mean, their spinners are performing really well. But if you talk from SRH, definitely Bhuvaneshwar Kumar did the job today. Also, talking about Washington Sundar. I mean, when had SRH won this match, I will think that Washington Sundar was the man who would get player of the match because he took that 3 wickets. I mean, that 3-wicket over was absolutely splendid. Also, he was contributing lower down the order. He couldn't do that much, and they were left 7 runs short. But again, if the match would have turned in SRH's favor, I would have think that. Sundar was the man to be, who would have taken it home today. So yeah, it was good from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, but absolutely impressed with Washington Sundar today.
राइट और जिस दिन मैं किसी स्पिनर को ले लूं उस दिन सारे स्पिनर्स अच्छे करते हैं एक्सेप्ट मेरा स्पिनर सो दिस वाज मयंक मार्कंडे बट थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द परफॉर्मेंस व्हिच एवर यू डिड इट्स ओके फॉर द टीम नाउ बट एज यू टॉकिंग अबाउट द बॉलर्स प्रत्यय मुकेश कुमार लाइक लास्ट ओवर 11 runs needed and that is something which is very difficult हमने इस आईपीएल में 30 के अराउंड रन्स भी लास्ट ओवर में बनते हुए देखे हैं हमने देखा है कि इस तरीके से बड़ी बड़ी टीम्स के बैटर्स जिनका इतना नाम नहीं था जो अंडररेटेड थे उन्होंने ये चेज किया है और उन्होंने रन्स बनाए हैं पर आज के मुकाबले में मुकेश कुमार को इसका पूरा क्रेडिट दें क्योंकि लास्ट ओवर में जिस तरीके से उन्होंने स्पेल फेंका या जैसे फील्डिंग भी सेट थी अकॉर्डिंगली जैसे मुकेश कुमार बॉलिंग कर रहे थे वो भी काफी लाजवाब थी क्योंकि जहां भी जा रही थी बॉल वहां पर फील्डर मौजूद था ऐसा नहीं था हिट की कोशिश करी थी बैटर्स ने बट स्टिल रन बना नहीं पाए और 11 रन कोई बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं थी वो डेफिनेटली बन सकते थे लेकिन नहीं बना पाए और आखिर में ये मुकाबला जिस तरीके से डीसी के हाथ में गया तारीफ बनती है ऐसे में मुकेश कुमार की
एब्सोल्युटली आई थिंक क्योंकि 11 रन डिफेंड करना किसी भी ट्रैक पे और जब आपके सामने इन्फॉर्म बैटर थे क्योंकि the manner in which Washington was batting, it looked like that he perhaps would take the game away because that partnership क्योंकि बीच में एक ऐसा फेज आया था when Sunrisers completely had a power outage क्योंकि runs बिल्कुल बने नहीं थे Rahul Tripathi sucked the momentum out 19-20 balls 15 runs no boundaries there was another phase in between when they did not hit even a single boundary for 26-27 balls it's almost 4 overs that you're not hitting a boundary for but then that partnership towards the back end between Klaasen and Washington Sundar it started to feel that perhaps they are getting back into the game unless someone could have done the dramatic stuff at death which turned out to be the man Mukesh I think he has had a great run with the domestic teams all across formats as well, and he has translated that form into IPL as well. Because even in the previous game against KKR, he was pretty spot on with his lines and lengths. And as I said, 11 runs, it's never easy to defend when when you have a side chasing, then know the target, and there is someone who is batting on 25, 26 odd of 15, 17 deliveries. He has got himself into the groove. So it's never easy, but nailed his Yorkers, kept his calm, held his nerves, and correctly pointed out. I think really, I mean, the manner in which he bowled, not even a single ball that you could say that was not up to the mark or was not bowled according to the fielding plan. So I think it's a good moment for Delhi Capitals, specifically keeping in mind that they are a side who are coming after a string of losses. These are the kind of things that just kind of put your morale up. That okay, fine, we defended when the chips were down, or perhaps we were not expected to win the game. Because as I said, 145, you absolutely could not expect that to be defended. It's not impossible, but still, throughout the game, you would have expected SRH to be ahead in the chase. But they kept things, perhaps procrastinating too much and leaving things too much far down the line. And in the end, Mukesh Kumar delivering the Yorkers. Not just him, I think even otherwise, the bowlers, I feel the manner in which Akshar Patel bowled Kuldeep Yadav as well. The spinners were given too much respect. I think only 40, 45 runs in their 8 overs combined for 3 wickets. So that is where I think that it was a case of spinners completely applying the strange hold, and then great death bowling backed up, making it a winning performance. Because 7 runs, it's not a very big victory, but still it's pretty convincing given the fact that they had only 145 to defend. So I think yes, Mukesh definitely would be a happy man, and so would be Warner and Ponting.
I'm on mute. I'm sorry. So let's take a look at the top performers as well, because हम लोगों ने देखा है जिस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस इन दोनों ही टीम्स की तरफ से आई है, उसके चलते ही ये मुकाबला थोड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग रहा था. मनीष पांडे एक तरफ उन्होंने फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में 34 रन्स बनाए, दूसरी तरफ वॉशिंगटन सुंदर ने 3 विकेट्स लिए फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में, 28 रन्स दिए 4 ओवर्स में. ये थे हमारे टॉप परफॉर्मर्स फर्स्ट इनिंग के. नाउ इफ वी टॉक अबाउट सेकंड इनिंग्स के टॉप परफॉर्मर्स, सो यहाँ पर है मयंक अग्रवाल विद 49 रन्स. काफी मुस्कुरा रहे हैं क्योंकि 1 रन से उनकी हाफ सेंचुरी रह गई है. लेकिन अक्षर पटेल, उन्होंने 2 विकेट लिए, 21 रन दिए और 4 ओवरों में उन्होंने ये कमाल का स्पेल डाला. अक्षर पटेल ने एक तरफ जहां मुकाबला बदला दिल्ली कैपिटल्स के लिए, उनका स्पेल भी काफी इंपॉर्टेंट था. बैक टू बैक उन्होंने 2 विकेट्स लिए और उनकी भी तारीफ करनी होगी सिंस आज स्पिनर्स का दिन था. हमने जैसे कि पढ़ा भी था गौरी पिच रिपोर्ट में कि आज स्पिनर्स को काफी मदद मिलेगी और कुछ वैसा ही परफॉर्म किया. इट्स रियली गुड टू सी देम, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि जब अल्टीमेटली जब ये इंडिया टीम के लिए खेलेंगे, सो इट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प अस. और जिस तरीके से इंडियन बॉलर्स ने परफॉर्म किया है इस पूरे आईपीएल, तारीफ बनती है. बिकॉज भुवनेश्वर को हमने देखा, शमी को हमने देखा है, अक्षर पटेल को देख रहे हैं, कुलदीप यादव भी आज के मैच में उन्होंने अच्छा कमाल किया. ये सभी बॉलर्स अल्टीमेटली हमें दिख रहा है कि 2023 वर्ल्ड कप जो इंडिया में होने वाला है, अगर इस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस इंडिया की पिचेस पर हमारे बॉलर्स रख रहे हैं, सो अल्टीमेटली हमें वर्ल्ड कप नजर आता है कि वहां पर हमारी बॉलिंग काफी स्ट्रांग दिखाई पड़ती है.
I mean, absolutely. As and when IPL gets over, we always talk about team as in team of India. I mean, everyone is looking for the team because ultimately the larger goal is playing for India, and you're getting the cup and getting the ICC trophies. So of course, I mean, Kuldeep did a great job. And talking about Kuldeep and Aksar, they have been on a consistent run. Like I said earlier, they have been having a very bowling economical spells, as well as talking about Akshar, he has been contributing also very in a very vital manner lower down the order. So I think something that is very good and great sign for India leading up to the 2023 World Cup. Also, the thing about these spinners is they you talk about them playing for India and getting those good wickets and getting those good things, but again they're talking about Kuldeep Yadav. We have been seeing him, he has been missing out on matches sometimes about with the injury. Sometimes it's about the problem of plenty, as we say, it always goes on. So he's someone who who's usually sidelined or warming the benches. But as far as I believe, Kuldeep Yadav is someone who's extremely skilled. Whenever he has been given the chances, especially in the IPL, last IPL as well, he has really lived up to his potential and performed well. So I think definitely going into the World Cup or going into the bigger tournaments for India, these kind of performance are really something that you would want to take the positives away from. So yeah, of course, if they carry this momentum or carry this kind of golden rhythm into the big tournaments, I think this will be a really good sign for India.
राइट. और इसी के साथ एक कमेंट आया है, वो मैं आप सबको दिखाना चाहूंगी. सनराइजर्स हैदराबाद इज अ गुड टीम, जस्ट नीड्स टू इम्प्रूव इट्स बैटिंग, बॉलिंग, फील्डिंग एंड कोचिंग. सो या, लाइक हैदराबाद इज अ गुड टीम, हम लोग शुरू से बात कर रहे हैं, ऑन पेपर बहुत अच्छी टीम है, बहुत कैलिबर है, बहुत सारा स्किल सेट है, बस उन्हें अपनी बैटिंग, बॉलिंग, फील्डिंग और कोचिंग को सुधारने की जरूरत है. बट प्रत्यय, डू यू सी लाइक, मतलब आई नो हम इस फेलियर के बारे में बहुत बार बात कर चुके हैं, बट what is going wrong with them? Like, what is their problem basically? Because if you talk about like SRH ने जब ऑप्शन टेबल पर जब वो उतरे थे, लाइक उसी टाइम पर मुझे याद है सारे एक्सपर्ट्स ने बोला था, सब बोल रहे थे, इवन क्रिकट्रैकर पर भी जब हम लोगों ने इस आईपीएल ऑक्शन को लाइव कवर किया था, वी ऑलवेज सेइंग कि एसआरएच की टीम ऐसी लग रही है कि भाई अब दोबारा से ट्रॉफी लाएंगे, बिकॉज जिस तरीके का कॉम्बिनेशन उनके पास था, बहुत सारे ऑप्शन हैं, आप एक प्लेयर नहीं चल रहा दूसरा प्लेयर खिला सकते हैं, और सब इक्वल लाइक टू लाइक रिप्लेसमेंट्स थे, और बहुत ही अच्छा कॉम्बिनेशन क्रिएट हो रहा था, और देख के लग रहा था कि जो मिक्सचर इन्होंने क्रिएट किया है वैसा कोई और टीम क्रिएट नहीं कर पाई. बट कभी कभी लगता है जैसे बहुत बहुत नजर लग गई सनराइजर्स को, आई वुड से, कि सब लोगों ने इतना बोला उनके बारे में कि यू आर द बेस्ट एंड आफ्टरवर्ड्स नाउ वी नो अभी वो एकदम नीचे है पॉइंट्स टेबल के. उन्हें खुद कितना बुरा लग रहा होगा यार, इतना पैसा खर्च कर दिया, इतना कुछ करने के बावजूद दे आर नोवेयर. लाइक what's going on? Like, it's just the mindset or something else which is bothering them?
See, I think their plans have not really come off because I think too much of chopping and changing has been one of the reasons. Like, even I was pretty surprised today to see Mayank Agarwal opening, because what we heard from Brian Lara would have suggested that Abhishek Sharma and Harry Brook would be opening. But this is I think this is a concern because you are not allowing anyone to settle. Fine, Mayank came and he had a decent knock, 49 of 38. Perhaps again the strike rate would be questioned, but then we know this was not a surface where you could have played with, say, something like a 180, 190, 200. That too as an opening batter. Perhaps he would have wanted to start off a little cautiously because Sunrisers have also been losing a lot of wickets in the power play. But still, I think one of the concerns is not allowing the batting order to settle down, because I even touched upon this fact in the previous one of the previous games after SRH lost to Chennai Super Kings. At many a times, what happens is that teams want to accommodate their best players in the 11 without realizing the fact that you are perhaps bringing someone in an unusual place. You're asking someone to do a job that he is not used to doing. So it's okay that you want to perhaps show off your strength. You have great players. You want all of them to be in the 11. But for that, you cannot be asking an opener to play a bat at number 5 just because you want to accommodate him, just because you want to make him in the 11. That is something which Sunrisers Hyderabad have been guilty of doing. So I'm happy from the inside that yes, they brought back Mayank Agarwal into his favorable position, and yes, it wasn't the most free flowing knock, but still it was a knock that will give him a bit of confidence because he has got at least some runs under his belt now. But if you look at other areas of concerns, I think Marco Jansen hasn't really been able to lit up the tournament. Every game, every second, third game, he is, there's one over in which he's perhaps going for a lot of runs, which is entirely spoiling up his night. Washington Sundar, yes, great performance today, no doubt. Triple wicket over that actually completely knocked out the wind of Delhi, and with the bat as well. But if you look at what his strength is, that is power play bowling, because he is one of those bowlers who strikes really well in the power play. This year he has been going over 14 runs in that phase of the game. Compared to last year, his economy in that phase was under 8. So you are seeing that his primary strength, which is power play bowling, that is not coming to the fore. Your openers are not in the best of shape because you are tinkering too much there. Every single game there's a game of musical chairs being played. You bring in Harry Brook, then you suddenly throw in a Abhishek Sharma, then you bring in Mayank Agarwal. So that is one of the issues. I still think that their best order would be to perhaps play with Mayank Agarwal and Abhishek at the top of the order, to be followed by Rahul Tripathi. Then you can have at Aiden Markram at 4, 5. You can have 6. You have already Klaasen. Brook can maybe come at 5, but then that opens up another box for you because Brook is struggling against spin. So I think overall their team balance hasn't really been that great, because the reason I feel that they have went with Brook at the top of the order is because he's a great player of pace. But then you are compromising on Mayank Agarwal. So it's like that if you're fixing this, that is getting unfixed. If you are fixing that, this is getting chaotic. And that, I think, is the primary reason for their downfall. But two things that they really need to fix, perhaps three, is a few of their bowlers, T. Natarajan, Washington Sundar, they need to get back in form. This game was good for Sundar, so I'm happy about him. And a couple of things in the batting order that needs to be certainly fixed is the opening. And spin, I think, is something, as you said, when the auction happened and we would have looked at Sunrisers Hyderabad, two things would have come to your mind, that this side is not going to struggle against spin because you have Markram in the middle order, you have Rahul Tripathi as well. These are two great players of spin. But despite that, the average and strike rate of Sunrisers Hyderabad in the entire tournament is the worst. So I think that is another area of concern, that they're not playing spin well despite having good operators of spin. Today as well, you saw Rahul Tripathi, not even a single boundary looked completely, out of place. And he was the impact player. Adding insult to injury, you are the impact player and not being able to make any impact at all. So I think concerns are plenty, but still, I still think that there are things that they have gotten fixed. If they can fix two, three things, perhaps they might as well get back onto winning ways, because if Delhi Capitals can do it, of course they can as well.
राइट तो सिर्फ 2 या 3 ही कई सारे कंसर्न्स हैं जैसे कि पॉइंट आउट किए गए हैं, बट डेफिनेटली आज एक चीज काफी कमाल की हुई है एंड दैट इज हमने डेविड वार्नर को इस पूरे सीजन खेलने के बावजूद पहला 6 लगाते हुए आज देखा, बिकॉज उन्होंने जितने रन अभी तक बनाए हैं दिल्ली कैपिटल्स के लिए, सबसे ज्यादा उन्होंने ही बनाए हैं 2, बट जितने भी बनाए उसमें एक भी 6 नहीं लगा पाए थे, बट आज उनका वो फ्री फ्लोइंग बिहेवियर और नेचर हमने देखा, और जिस तरीके से उन्होंने एंटरटेन किया हैदराबादी क्राउड को, आई एम वेरी श्योर, प्रिटी श्योर कि काफी खुश होंगे दिल्ली कैपिटल्स को कैप्टन करते हुए एसआरएच में आकर के, हैदराबाद को हरा करके और अपनी फैन फॉलोइंग के इतना बढ़ते हुए देख करके, बिकॉज डेविड वार्नर को हैदराबाद में लोग बहुत प्यार करते हैं, और एक मोमेंट में लग भी रहा था कि शायद हैदराबादी फैंस आज एसआरएच की टीम को जितना सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं वो 50% वही फैंस डेविड वार्नर को भी सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज दे लव हिम फॉर मेनी मेनी रीजंस. बट लेट्स टेक अ लुक एट द प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच अवार्ड, बिकॉज हमें पता है कि आज के मुकाबले में शायद डेविड वार्नर को तो नहीं मिला होगा प्लेयर ऑफ द मैच, लेकिन देखते हैं किसको, दैट इज अक्षर पटेल. इन्होंने 34 रन्स बनाए और इसके अलावा 2 विकेट लिए, और कमाल का स्पेल इनका भी था. इनकी वजह से मुझे लगता है कि दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ने जो शुरू में सनराइजर्स हैदराबाद की जो एक पार्टनरशिप बिल्ट हुई थी उसको तोड़ा, और उसके बाद में फिर हमने देखा कि बैक टू बैक विकेट्स अक्षर पटेल ने लिए, व्हिच वाज गुड फॉर द टीम, और डेफिनेटली वो चीज काम आई और ये मुकाबला उनके हाथ में जाता हुआ थोड़ा बहुत दिखाई पड़ा. बट एक बार नजर डालते हैं सोशल ट्रैकर में, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग ट्वीट्स है हमारे पास आज के इस मुकाबले में. सबसे पहले नजर डालेंगे, इट हैपेंस, आउट एट 48 अगेंस्ट एमआई, आउट एट 49 अगेंस्ट डीसी, और मयंक अग्रवाल अपनी हाफ सेंचुरी पूरी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. ये अलग स्ट्रगल चल रहा है, मतलब पूरी दुनिया एक तरफ लेकिन मयंक अग्रवाल का स्ट्रगल एक तरफ कि वो अपनी हाफ सेंचुरी पूरी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. अ सुंदर ओवर फ्रॉम वॉशिंगटन पुश्ड दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ऑन द बैक फुट, एंड डेफिनेटली उनके इस ओवर में 3 विकेट बैक टू बैक उन्होंने लिए, 3 विकेट ही उनके नाम रहे और वो एक ही ओवर में आए हैं, और वो है तीनों विकेट आपके सामने. और इसके अलावा शेन वॉटसन एट नंबर 4 फॉर दिल्ली कैपिटल्स, हु ऑल अग्री. तो बेसिकली हरभजन सिंह ने ये क्वेश्चन पूछा है, दिल्ली कैपिटल्स शुड सेंड शेन वॉटसन टू बैट, व्हाट डू यू से पीपल. गौरी, वुड यू लाइक टू आंसर दिस, लाइक दिल्ली कैपिटल्स के लिए क्या बेटर होगा अगर वो नंबर 4 पर शेन वॉटसन को ले?
I mean, this is something that you're asking the coaching staff or something like that to come over. It's like SRH are having a very heavy bowling unit and they're not able to perform. You would probably call Muralidharan to come and take over. This is something like that. So I mean, this is not some of the best resorts for them to make over this tournament, but it is something that they are not looking forward to. I mean, SRH and like if you talk about like Pratyay also pointed out this earlier, DC have definitely won, but this is not something like clinical victory or something victory that you bank upon. So winning out of 7 runs, so posting this target 144 145, this is not something that they would be really looking, especially when you have coming on for back-to-back losses, so it is something that you won't be wanting in this tournament. So yeah, definitely SRH really need to work upon, DC also need to work upon, but this is not something that just bring Shane Watson on number 4 maybe, and this will solve all your problems. So
right.
But I would like to add on one thing.
Yeah,
Akshar Patel, I personally have not been able to understand why has he not been promoted, because I've been saying, not just me, plenty of people have suggested, and there is every reason to do that. I mean, even today, fine, 34 of 34, but it was his partnership with Manish Pandey that brought them out of trouble. And number 5, number 4, 5 is an issue. It's a bit of an issue for Delhi at the moment. The manner in which Akshar has batted, and not just in the IPL, even if you pick up the Australia series before that back at home, the manner in which he has been performing in Test cricket for India. With all due respect, I mean, he has been batting well, and you are sending Aman Khan ahead of him. So that actually, that is something which should actually roll your head, because why would you want to preserve a batter of his pedigree and expose someone like an Aman Khan when you have that kind of an option? And that is not just the case with Delhi Capitals. I think plenty of teams are committing to that error. Sending someone like a Riyan Parag ahead of Dhruv Jurel at Rajasthan Royals, sending Aman Khan ahead of Akshar Patel at Delhi Capitals, sending Sunil Narayan ahead of Andre Russell at KKR. So I have personally not been able to wrap my head around this strange sort of batting combinations. Perhaps a case of team management's being too too stringent with their plans, that no, if we have a set batting order, then we are going to stick to it no matter what. At times you have to respect the conditions. At times you have to understand that, okay, be a little horses for courses. If you have a player who you know is in form, and you're 4 down, you're 5 down, and you and that too early on in the innings, there is no point preserving someone at the back end of the innings. So I think if not Shane Watson, of course Akshar Patel could be tried at that position.
Right. So Shane Watson को उतरने की जरूरत नहीं है. Basically, you have options. Just simply look at it and do the changes which is required. That is the only thing DC should do. Let's take a look at another tweet. What are people discussing about this match? Let's take a look on the interesting conversations. Despite my lack of faith in superstitions, Sunrisers batting unit gives me the impression that the Shani Graha Dosham is a reality. Period. Definitely, SRH needs to do something. Like कुछ तो है जो है और उन्हें फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज ऐसे तो नहीं चलने वाला, डेफिनेटली नहीं चलने वाला. और इसका सोल्यूशन बस यही है, साथ में बैठो और थोड़ा मेडिटेट करो, समझो इस चीज को कि ये कैसे इस चीज को सॉर्ट करना है. माइंडसेट भी अच्छा होगा, अच्छी वाइब भी जाएगी टीम को, और हो सकता है शायद मेडिटेट करने से एक टीम बिल्डिंग एक्सरसाइज भी हो जो अल्टीमेटली आपको क्रिकेट मैच जिता दे. ट्राई समथिंग न्यू, वी नेवर नो, कुछ भी हो सकता है. बट एसआरएच के लिए फिलहाल हम लोग यही बोलेंगे. थैंक यू सो मच गौरी एंड प्रत्यय फॉर ज्वाइनिंग मी फॉर दिस डिस्कशन. और डेफिनेटली एक अच्छा क्रिकेट मैच देखने की तरफ हम लोग आज अग्रसर हुए थे. बहुत कोशिश करी दिल्ली और सनराइजर्स ने लोगों को एंटरटेन करने की, बट ज्यादा कर नहीं पाए. बट मेक श्योर करेंगे कि नेक्स्ट मैच में जब भी वो लोग आए और अच्छा क्रिकेट खेले और फैंस को एक अच्छा एंटरटेनमेंट दे, और कुछ नहीं तो एक नए सुपरस्टार्स को जनरेट करें जिससे हमें भी मौका मिले उनके बारे में बहुत सारा डिस्कशन करने की. बट थैंक यू ऑल द पीपल हु आर वाचिंग CricTracker एंड इन द एयर शो. कीप वाचिंग इट बिकॉज हमें कल भी वापस आना है और आ करके आपसे बहुत सारे डिस्कशंस करने. कीप कमेंटिंग, योर फीडबैक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, and be there with us on pre-show of the next match tomorrow.